a small worm gets mixed in with your chont. I mean, I know that sounds disgusting, but let's say it happened, and the worm disappeared. It's gone. You can't find it. You can't take it out. It's just got smashed in with the beans and the potatoes. What's the halacha? What do we do? So the halacha is, this halacha in Yeridea, Siman Kuf, Sif Kotan Aleph, 100, number 1. He says that a tolat, if you know that a worm fell into the pot and you can't find it, tolat shlema, a complete worm, it never disappears. Even if you have 1,000 times as much chont against the worm, the chont is forbidden, all the chont. This prohibition is probably midrabanan, but the commentaries on the Shulchan Aruch dispute the question. So that the law of Beria is that if a whole animal, or if a whole worm in this case, is mixed in with some tremendous amount of food, that the general position that we assume is that it becomes asur midrabanan. It may be that there are certain cases, because the prohibition is drabanan, if there's a large financial loss, or if there are other special instances, that there may be a way, may be able to find a way to ease that prohibition. But for that, if you have a particular case in which that came on, with which they came up, you have to ask your rabbi. And on the other hand, if you have a worm, a piece of a worm, so of course a piece of a worm is also prohibited ba'achila, because we know that even though the worm is what the Torah relates to, but chatzi shir is also also b'nat Torah. Half of a worm is also also. But if you took this worm, this half a worm, and you put it into a large pot, and it got sort of destroyed within the pot, then the ta'arovet, the mixture, is permitted. So we have on the one hand a whole worm, that's called a baria. Baria is a serious problem. If it gets mixed in with a larger group of a large amount of food, no matter how much there is, there's never a direct access to bitul. It doesn't just disappear. Doesn't disappear. But if the worm is only a piece of a worm, and it's not therefore in the category of baria, when that worm falls into a pot and disappears, of course, we're talking about an accident. We're not talking about somebody who throws the worm into the pot. That would certainly make everything prohibited. We're talking about a case where the worm accidentally fell into the pot. If the worm accidentally fell into the pot and then disappeared, it got smashed to smithereens through the cooking process, then the mixture is mutar. The laws of bitul apply to that mixture. That's the difference between a whole worm, a baria, and a part of a worm, which is treated like a chatichat isur, a piece of something that is prohibited.